Hey everybody, I'm here today to teach you a little bit about something called walking meditation. This is something of which I'm sure many of you are aware, but of which some of you may not be. So let me break this down a little bit before we proceed with the demonstration. The idea and the advantages behind walking meditation are that when you walk, there's a procession of activity and physical rhythm that will pull your normal default rhythms, both in your breath and thought process, as well as emotions, into a kind of more rhythmic state. So when you're doing sitting meditation, there's not quite that same sense of physical rootedness as there is in walking meditation. So, and additionally, some of the tensions that get accumulated during sitting meditation, like, gosh, I wish I did that, gosh, I wish I hadn't done that, gosh, it's so nice to meet my friend from high school, gosh, whatever it is, some of those tensions can be worked out simply through exerting muscle, blood, and neurological electricity. So that's exactly what we're going to do now, without further ado. So you can see, let's start with the stance, and then I'll show you the strut, and then we'll integrate that with the breath, and then we'll be done. Should just take a few minutes. So the stance is a little bit like this. So starting from the bottom, your toes are rooted. Look at my right foot. Your toes are rooted on the ground, like such. Your heels, likewise. Most of the pressure is on the front of your foot, on the ball of the toes. Your knees are bent. And of course, we're going to start walking, obviously, but we'll initiate it from a standing position. So your knees are going to be a little bit bent here. That's because we want to distribute the force of our weight on our quadriceps, our glutes and our quadriceps. Those are the strongest. That will allow us to maintain the most erect possible posture, right? So, speaking of which, the hands will be placed here. Maybe the tip of the thumbs are at the base of the sternum. And this will create a sort of almost proud, very erect kind of posture, with the head being pulled up from where some men get a bald spot. The crown of the head will be pulled up from there. So you'll look something like this, and then be walking. So without further ado, let's start walking. So again, we'll start with the gait, and then move on to the breath, integrate them, and done. So, the gait. Watch, and then I'll explain. So what we have here is, you want to be very mindful as to your sensations. So as your skin, the skin of your feet, even if you're wearing shoes, as the skin of your feet comes in contact with tension, gravity, and pressure, you're going to want to be keenly aware, like you're having sex, basically. You want to be keenly aware of where your fingers are falling, in the case of sex, or in the case of this, where your foot is falling. You want to be keenly aware of the distribution of weight throughout all the joints in your body. And you're going to almost kind of want to, like, if this makes any sense, you're going to kind of want to float as you use your muscles to pull you up. You don't crimp on your skeleton, right? Which any physical therapist will tell you the same thing. So that's a little bit of what is going on with the posture. Now let's move on to the breath. For this next phase, when I raise my hand, that indicates that I'm inhaling. When I descend my hand, it indicates that I'm exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Now you're going to notice that I inhale 4 steps and exhale 4 steps. I'll tell you why in a moment. Good. So that's 16 steps, 4 in, 4 out, 4 in, 4 out. The reason for the synchronicity between the steps and the breath, in a sort of strange way, is to take choice away from you. The idea is that when people are given choice, they make mischief, and there's a lot to be said for that. So by sort of surrendering to a format, like in the military, or come to think of it in gymnastics, there's a form for working on the rings in martial arts. Even in intelligentsia, there's a form for writing a bibliography. So by adhering to a form, the idea is that you lose certain parts of yourself which otherwise would cause trouble and get caught up in the agitations of decision making. So the very last step of all this, which should just take a minute or two, is to integrate the whole shebang basically, and then sort of see what you get from that. Okay, so let's bring the breath, posture, and gait all together. that's pretty much all there is to it, guys. I mean, it sounds, I don't know if it sounds complicated or simple to you, but it's actually pretty simple. But sometimes when you take out some of the extraneous details and free-floating free radicals out of your life, it becomes a little bit more honed, sharp, precise, and focused. And you can focus on what really matters, which of course is putting one foot in front of the other in the other areas of your life. Love you guys. Have a good one.